we can start from the beginning. How did the two of you meet?
At the worst party that Eve ever attended.
At the time, we both were single. Joe lived on 18th Street. And
In
Manhattan, and I lived on 12th Street in Manhattan. The way people met would be through parties on a Sunday. Somebody always had a party. I was living in the village, and my roommates always were saying, let's go here, let's go there. And somehow somebody heard of this party, but it was in Queens. And you have to understand that Manhattanites are very spoiled. They don't leave Manhattan. But for some reason, we went, and actually...
And we met.
And we met. To my roommates and I, it was just a boring party, but Joe was attractive, so that was it.
And so were you.
Oh, thank you. So the two of us, that's how we met. He called me afterward for about a month. He kept calling, and somehow with my roommates, it was a busy social world, and we were just running around, and I kept telling him I couldn't make it.
That's what she kept telling me.
Yeah. And then he persisted. And finally, he called one Sunday, and I did have a date
you had a dinner date.
I had a dinner date.
And you said, if I take you out, I got to get you back by 3:30.
Right.
The latest 3:40.
3:40, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we used to do a lot of that then, somehow.
What we did actually was go to a museum and see a Van Gogh exhibit. But we sat in the park and talked first. Mm-hmm. And Eve then said that she broke her date and she's not going to eat. So we went to my apartment, showed her what it was like, and then went to a steakhouse on the same street.
Yeah, Old Forge Steakhouse.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still around.
I don't know. It was very popular to eat steak and roast beef at that time. That was 1964.
There were no veggies.
No veggies that we know of. I'm trying to think of the name of the museum. I remember it now. It was the Guggenheim Museum. And they were having this whole exhibition on Van Gogh, which sounded wonderful. And as we went around the museum, Joe, as a psychologist, had done a lot of Rorschachs and interpretation of paintings. And so at each painting, he was explaining to me how Van Gogh felt when he painted it and when he thought he was starting to lose it and what he was feeling. And I have no idea whether it was right or wrong, but it just sounded wonderful to me at the time.
And we went skiing the following weekend.
That's right. The following weekend, we went skiing. And what was funny with the skiing was I had new boots. At that time, they were called Henke Speed Fits. They were the type which latched together. Before then, all boots had laces, but these were brand new, and I was so excited about wearing them. And we went up on a T-bar. And going up on the T-bar, somehow my latches got interhooked with his laces. And when it came time to get off, we both were pulling in different directions. So we fell off together until we could figure it out. And we figured that's it, we're falling together and we're gonna keep doing that. So,
and we did.
It was nice. So it was within the year that we got married. And when we decided to get married, we were up at Tanglewood because...
In Massachusetts.
Tanglewood, Massachusetts. And and I was upset, and he said, "What are you upset about?" And I said, "Well, our friends will be back tomorrow, another couple we were with, and you said you were going to talk to us about getting married." And he said, "Well, don't cry, I'll marry you." Yes, you did.
If you say so, dear.
And that's why I always said to him, he never proposed. Never proposed, so.
That was only 55 years ago.
I know.
Why don't you wait a little bit?
Okay. And we got married at the village temple. And the village temple has...
This was in Manhattan.
This is in Manhattan. A very reformed synagogue. We used to kid that it was closed for the holidays. That's how reform it was. But there was a nice young rabbi there who said he would be glad to marry us within a few weeks. And I remember I bought a dress at that time, Best & Company, a very fine women's store. And they made it where the hem was too long, and I was supposed to have just a little veil on the back of the head, but they made the little crazy hat I wore, which was stylish to wear hats then, but they made it upside down, and the veiling was too long. I mean, everything, the dress didn't fit the way it was supposed to fit. And we got to the synagogue. It turns out that the aisles that you walk down was small. They could only hold 2 people. And in a Jewish wedding, typically the bride walks with her mother and her father on each side. And the groom with the groom, he'll go down with both his parents. And we couldn't do that. So I remember there was a whole discussion right before the wedding. People were waiting downstairs on how we're gonna walk. And everybody had an opinion, and I finally just got annoyed and said, "The heck with that," and I just went downstairs, took my flower girl and the bridesmaid and said, "Okay, we're walking."
Yeah, she has a memory that goes beyond belief. Believe me, she remembers things that I force myself to forget.
But we had a good time. We lived in Manhattan for a few years.
Yes, we were very lucky. We had good locations, good home life, and good kids.
Well, it's always been his sense of humor. He can be very funny. He likes to pun things. And throughout the years, we've done things like quote Shakespeare to each other, or drop a line, which was a line from some famous book or poem, and we understand where it came from and why it's being used. And I think people from New York kid a lot more too.
I see, I'm in my 90s, that I'm living in assisted living, and she's the assisted living. Eve is doubling over to take care of my many misfits at this age. She's with me, she takes care of me, and I hate to say it, but that I'm not the same person I used to be. But if it wasn't for Eve, I would be the worst person I could be. But she keeps me alive.